Why, hello there, fellow builders and architects. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Synergy. Episode 4, Building Sturdy Homes. So, consulting the Book of Knowledge, we want branches. One way to do it is to use an arborist workshop to harvest the sunshade trees for branches. So, to that end, let's go and get the arborist workshop, which is up here, and get one built. And I'm going to build it, let's see if there's a adjacency bonus for our town. No, I don't believe there is. So, the Arborist Workshop doesn't have to be near the district. There's not a benefit for it. So I'll put it down here. And to have it connect both to the workshop and the town at large. Oh, there's a bush in the way. And get that built so that we can start to get the branches needed. The other thing that we could do in the display square is it's pretty cheap to make shelves, cisterns, and mobile workbenches. So here is a cistern, a shelf, mobile workbench, another cistern, and another shelf. And that will raise our points up by 50. Guilty Ghost, thank you for the resub too. And here's our second environmental impact. Diluvian bushes are pleasant plants to live around. So at Wellbeing Tier 2, they do improve the area. So this isn't a bonus that we have access to just yet. They do cool the nearby area, and they provide organic matter. And they produce more resources in the presence of whipping gourds. So allowing the whipping gourds to propagate around the diluvian bushes will provide a benefit. So for instance, this whipping gourd is providing a benefit to its to 3 of the diluvian bushes around it as a sphere of influence bonus. Let's keep queuing up these impacts. We're down to almost no water. Yeah, I'm fixing that. We have a lot of research points at the moment, so I'm going to actually reduce the amount of people working in the research center so that we can do other tasks that are more pressing, like building the arborists and the like. Okay, there, we got 50 extra points. Perfect. Let's go ahead and... Where's the canteen? I forget where that is. Is it here? No, that's Hall of Wisdom. Because I'm trying to improve our... Oh, it's up there. Okay. Unlock. So in order to do the canteen, I need more heritage points, more simple dishes, and more clean water. So that's going to have to be a minute. But at the very least, I can build the tables that people want to sit on. So let's build a serpentine bench. That covers... I'll put one here and one here. And that will cover both sections of the houses. Another report. The cabbage shrubs produce more resources in the presence of whipping gourds. Spreads living soil. This specimen only spreads once the condition has been fulfilled. It cools the nearby area. It reduces well-being. So people actually don't want to live near these things. And it gives a lot of organic matter. And living soil is spread only once, which might need a ground quality research to be done, which we don't have access to just yet. I feel bad for, like, the one person that's doing all the work. Now, we're getting pretty close to the summer season, so we need to push more towards that. We are getting a lot of clean water, though. I'm going to reduce, actually, the amount of people working in the pontoon. And to that end, I probably don't even need the second pontoon if we don't have a fully staffed first pontoon. We have a large supply of toxic water built up for cleaning. So that even in the dry season, all that toxic water can be purified and then drank. There we go. There's the arborists. So, pruning. And we'll prune these sunshade trees. All right, we need, let's see, a weaver's workshop. Would, if we had branches, would increase our district bonus. So in order to make branches, we can cut down trees, or we can compress planks or bark with water in a lumber mill. Alternatively, we can produce it from thorns for sticky bark. So there's a bunch of different ways to go about this. This one requires more thorns than we currently have and also more science points. So the easier one is to make it with branches and water, or bark and water, and we do now collect branches and bark. So I'm going to unlock the walking the plank and then work on building a lumber mill and then producing the timber that we need, because cutting down trees doesn't seem to be a very sensible thing to do at the moment, because we just don't have a lot of trees around us. So, like, chopping down a bunch of trees, which we rely upon, you know, is going to make the dry season all the worse. So here's a cutting station. And I think the cutting station has a... Yes, the cutting station does have a proximity bonus with the district, so I'll put the cutting station somewhere within the district bounds. Might not be the wisest spot for it. It's kind of arbitrary, but I'll have to do. And knowing that the wet season is coming, I might want to actually, after all, build that second pontoon and then overstaff my pontoons just to prepare for this dry season, because it is fast approaching and we don't have a lot of water available to us at the moment. Now, is there research for us to benefit from? Yeah, there is some, but it's very far away research-wise, requiring a Hall of Wisdom and then a past and future and so on and so forth. So it's not going to easily be obtainable. Other things. Ugly fruit. Increase the harvested amount for some resources. Not going to help us. Picking gear. Increases the range of the harvesting buildings. Not super important. Sowing seeds. Not super important, at least for right now. What I'm looking for is something to ease the next dry spell. Another thing that we can work towards is getting planks and science points for refrigerated houses, which will reduce the ambient temperature of these homes, allowing people to live more comfortably, which will help for this summer season as well. But given where I built the houses, it might be fine where they are now. The fabled chamber. Our situation is dire. Our water storage systems are still quite rudimentary, and the quantity of water evaporating is too high. The survival of all of our citizens is in jeopardy. A legend is spreading through the city, fueled by the delirium of the thirsty, or perhaps by despair. Some say a philosopher named Vastegel had her laboratory built in an underground chamber. Said chamber is said to condense humidity, thus fueling the women's experiments without limits. Such abundance is nothing but a myth, but even so, many citizens are ready to risk their lives in searching for it. The only way to prevent them from such folly is to provide them with the water they need. We need to resupply and fast. Produce enough clean water for a cycle. So I am prioritizing building the extra pontoon, employing more people in the water purification. I might even build another purification basin. The other thing I'm going to need to do, because we're running out of mushrooms for the purification process, is to collect some of the largest mushroom outgrowths. Okay, we built the cutting station, which allows us to combine to start making trunk recycle, make branches and the like, which might be helpful because we're rather low on branches. Here's another analysis report. The mere presence of trickster root. So yes, it hurts organic matter. It spreads the mossy biome. It's toxic for all plants, and it has very fast growth. So if it's toxic to all plants, keeping the trickster root away from like mushrooms and other crops is going to be important. So basically we need to cut back this stuff before it overtakes nearby plants, harming the ecosystem. I was thinking about getting the canteen. What's the benefit? The benefit would be building tiers. So the canteen is going to allow us to gain 100 points for our district, which would be nice. And here's the other pontoon. Perfect. So one pontoon is going to be collecting toxic water. The other pontoon is going to be collecting clean water. I'll have pontoons doing both. And I know that I'm going to reduce the amount of people working everywhere, are going to be struggling with staffing needs, but there we go. Build a cutting station, unlock the walking the plank research, obtain planks, and build stone houses. Okay, so obtain planks. By compressing bark with water, we can make planks. And I'm going to put citizens in that role. And it wants us to build stone houses. So building stone houses means getting refrigerated homes, which means getting more science points and planks to unlock that research. Ghost, thank you for the sub. Welcome to the stream. Also, some of the whipping gourds here that aren't covering the Diluvian bushes, I'm going to cut out so that we can very quickly supplement our water needs. Because these gourds aren't really doing anything out here, so we might as well just harvest an enormous amount of water from them, stockpiling the water, so that we can free up a lot more people from having to collect water slow and manually to being able to do other tasks like producing planks and research and all that stuff. So I have 3 available citizens transporting things. Got it. What other analyses can we do? We're doing Bramble, so we could do Hydra, Hatted, and Cinder. That dude is busy. Running everywhere, doing all these environmental impact analysis. Okay, as you can see, because of the gourd harvests and stuff, we've got a lot more hydration fulfillment. Here is the analysis of the giant fungus. So they sprout near other decomposers, and they reduce organic matter in the area. Makes sense. So how close are we to stone houses now? We almost have the research. We do not have the planks. So let's put 2 more people working in the cutting station for the planks, turning bark and water into chipped wood. Chipboard slats, rather. Increasing the efficiency from like 70 to 160. And it does want me to produce enough clean water for a cycle, and I have several cycles to do that. So if we click on the water here, I am producing 200 water and consuming 123, which does have me in the net positive, which reduces the potential for the fabled chamber for people to go wandering off and getting themselves killed on a fool's errand of finding a chamber that might not exist. Oh, look at that! We have a hatted tree here? Amazing. So refrigerated houses is now researchable, and it wants me to build 10 of those. So I have enough resources for 1. And there's 3 styles. They're all the same, like function-wise, just so that you can have a varied appearance to your districts. So we'll get those built. Among our citizens, we have a family counting 4 generations of agriculturalists. Like many other, they had to leave the orchard that used to feed them before it withered. Since their arrival, they have suffered from the lack of common spaces and road networks. Being separated in several smaller houses, they hardly see each other anymore, and their great-grandfather's psychological state is deteriorating due to the isolation. They are thinking about going back to their old orchard, where they could live together, but are unlikely to be able to provide for their needs. The family is one example of a general trend. Many families and groups have been split up by our city's failings. We should act before some decide to leave the city. Have a social of at least 14. So let's take a look at social. At the moment, if we take a look at any of these houses, we have a social of 5. Increasing the social, funny enough, I wanted to get canteens. Canteens would provide social and culture. So the social icon is like the 2 people sitting at a table. So taking a look at other social things that we could do together. Sun awnings provide well-being. We've got, what else could help with social? Canteens would help with social. Hanging tapestries would help with social if we had soft fibers. So having our arborists collect soft fibers for that research would be helpful. So pushing for canteen and soft fibers for the awnings would remedy that. And I think that's probably worth pursuing as a result. So we'll try to help that out. And here's our first stone house. And we have enough for another one, so we'll build a second. And a third. Working towards the 10. Alright. The social, as you can see for the stone house, is a lot higher, potentially, than the original houses. Because they're improved and we could build... Let's see. I'm going to build a lovely table and chairs here, and then put another serpentine bench there, and we'll start to fill out the social needs to avoid family bonds triggering. Was there nowhere for Liana's? Probably full up. Yep, full up 62 out of 62, because we are cutting back all of these trickster roots, and there's nowhere to put the extra. So I'm going to put another warehouse here, and this will be a generalist warehouse. So these young headed trees that just sprouted up will eventually be harvested for soft fibers once they grow a little bit more. There's another stone house. And a third. So I'm out of boreal stone for additional stone houses, but we have a lot of boreal stone to be collected here. I just don't have the workforce to do it at the moment. Another analysis report for the barbed brambles. Cooling kills it. It increases the minerals in the area, but reduces the well-being. Prevents plants from spreading within its reach, and only spreads during the dry season. So during the dry season, brambles will spread quickly, and anywhere brambles go will stop other plants from growing. Thanks to our newly filled warehouses and water towers, citizens are gathering around distribution points, getting fully reinvigorated. The legend of the Chamber of the Vastagal, the philosopher who is said to have found an unlimited source of water, is back to what it always was, a skewed fragment of our history, incomplete and distorted. We have avoided the people leaving on a fool's errand to search for water. And in fact, the amount of clean water we have right now is like obscenely high. So that's great. I'm going to stop purifying in the purification basins and just stock pool toxic water from the pontoon. So that I have more workforce to be able to do transportation and building. So now we're trying to avoid the family bond triggering. Let's see. I'm a little worried that, well, how soon do we get canteen? I need more heritage points. Luckily, I can get a whole bunch. We need 20 more. Gives us canteen. And that unlocks T-bar and canteen. So, again, the T-bar requires soft fibers, which I do not have. The canteen requires soft fibers, which I do not have. So in this case, I might want to move my arborists from where they are over to where the hatted trees are over here. The already matured hatted trees. And then, similarly, move my warehouse to the same area so that I can harvest the hatted trees for their soft fibers rather than wait for the immature hatted trees that live near to mature enough for harvesting, because I don't have the luxury of time in order to avoid the family bonds triggering. So we'll try to get that going as soon as possible. Another thing is we are running low on boreal rot, which we can get from these petrified giants, ripping them out. So how is my... Let's see. My bark is pretty high. Yeah, maybe I don't have to worry about that right now. All right, viewing social overlay. Yes, it is quite low. I am working on it. All right, arborists. New tasks. We want to prune these hatted trees for fibers. I'll employ 2 people so we do it as fast as we can. I don't think I'm going to be able to... Yeah, I can't get close to the other hatted trees. I could have tried to build this equidistantly, but this should be enough soft fibers to fulfill the need for both the T-bar and the canteen, and to improve our social up enough. And we have 40 days until the summer season hits. I'm also going to need 1 more person working in the kitchen, because meals are basically nil. And put another person maybe working in the picker cabin, too. Rurika, thank you for the sub. And welcome. I hope you're enjoying. So even though I don't necessarily have the requisite materials just yet, I'm going to put these down so that they're built as soon as I do. So let's move this water tower just a smidge. So I can build the T-bar here. Oh, there's a whipping gourd. You got to get rid of that. It's in the way. And prioritize the water tower so that we can resupply the water to the rustic tents, because it's causing a bunch of homelessness at the moment. The T-bar also will supply, and will the canteen, some culture. Much needed culture points, which is great too. Alright, take a look at my materials up here. Still don't have soft fibers coming in just yet. That should be pretty soon. It does look like they've pruned one of these 4 trees. So it's only a matter of time until that those resources start to register in our stockpiles. And the field lab is still field labbing. Let's see if there's anything left for environmental impact. We may have gotten it all already. Why does it let me do the second sunshade tree? Well, I'll trigger that anyway. I don't think we're necessarily going to need it, but if we do, we'll queue it up. So one thing that I've noticed is we're relatively low on the vegetables from the picker cabin. So what I might also want to do, on top of everything else I'm already doing, is to set up another picker cabin over here where these plants are, so that we can pick them for the vegetables. Because this picker cabin is supplying, if we take a look at our kitchen, we have plenty of sauropods, but we don't have a lot of vegetables. So that's a bit of the bottleneck. So this here will solve the vegetable bottleneck. Harvesting these cabbage shrubs. Oh, I know why the fibers didn't get delivered. This warehouse wasn't actually set up to contain fibers. That's my fault. So here's the environmental impact of the Hydra tree. Only spreads during dry season, adds heat, adds organic matter, and watering, you know, that watering still kills it. That's the other report that we had. We have a lot of children. Can't wait for them to grow up and join our community as workers. Alright, come on. Don't love those soft fibers already. Are these not matured enough? That actually might be the case. These have soft fibers in them. So, as crazy as this sounds, maybe I move the Arborist Workshop again? Because it seems like the ones out here are kind of like dried and desiccated and aren't providing resources. So this is going to be my highest priority at the moment, so that we can try to get those fibers to keep people from moving away. I still have several cycles. The hard times deadline is also not being met. I have only 27 days to meet that. So I am keeping an eye on that, if you're wondering. And for that, we just need four more houses. Which I do have the resources for. So I think what I might end up doing is destroying some of the older houses and pushing people into the newer houses, because we have plenty of available houses, and then replacing the older houses with the newer models that are going to be more refrigerated. Okay, here we go. Prune, here, hide a tree, do it now, collect the fibers, please. I've been patient enough. And this is a little reminder about the low social, which I am dutifully working towards. There might be alternative ways to get soft fiber. So if we open up the soft fiber... Nope, right now it's just the headed tree. That's all we know about. Oh. I did just see them prune this one. That's 6 fibers that were getting banked. So, sooner or later... Or 7 fibers, I guess. Sooner or later we'll get that canteen going. Or T-bar. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to prioritize the canteen over the T-bar. Because I don't want them to split the resources between both. I'd rather build one and then the other. Alright, I think we now have all the soft fibers for the canteen. And then I'll work on other social bonuses too. So, other social. Let's see. The sun awnings, and then these guys down here. The hanging tapestries. The hanging tapestries is going to require a little bit more soft fibers than I currently have. And then also heritage points, which we'll get, no problem, through the water bottle trade. But if I want a water bottle trade, I ought to start to get more water, because I'm relatively low on it. Are you saying that my cellar's full of... No? Oh, I just need more carriers. I might want to get the dedicated carrier research so that we have dedicated carriers being able to haul more stuff. There we go. Canteen is almost built. And if we take a look at the overlay for social, we're now sporting 10, and we need 14. So getting these soft fibers through the T-bar will put us into spitting distance for that. Or the awnings, one or the other. I mean, both will work. But I'll prioritize the T-bar. Alright, there is another Hostility cluster over here. And I think I am going to take advantage of these extra Hostility cluster so that we get the saw fibers that we need more promptly than having to wait for the original trees to sprout. So these trees here aren't faring well because they're withering. They're in like a very dry environment, and they don't live well there. So, but these are doing just fine. They're in a different biome. What was that last? Oh, the stone house getting built. Thank you for tuning in to Synergy, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you in next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow survivors of this alien wasteland.